Hello everyone. Today we have with us a very special guest, Andrew Fleming, the British Deputy High Commissioner to East and Northeast India. Hello Andrew.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm very well.
So we have got an interesting fact about Andrew that he has already traveled across 117 countries till now. And this is his second stint in India. Before that, he was the British Deputy High Commissioner, settled in Hyderabad for 5 years. And now this is his second stint with the City of Joy. Right from the city of Nizam, after a gap, you're in the City of Joy. And you've already completed 6 months here. How does it feel?
I'm loving Hyderabad, the third city of India that I've had a chance to spend some extended time in. And, there's many lovely things about this city, to be quite honest with you. I like the people here. I like the people everywhere I go. But the people here are particularly warm and extremely interesting. I've had some fantastic conversations since I've been here. I'm going to have a good conversation with you, I'm sure. The food is very different to the food in the south, which is nice to have that change. And then, this city is sport mad, culture mad, lots and lots of interesting heritage, all things that I like and enjoy. So, I feel very blessed. I must have done something good to deserve to be here.
So, till now, how much has Calcutta, really enticed you? How do you like the city?
I felt very comfortable from the day I got off the plane.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like I said, it's a very welcoming place. People are very genuine. The whole vibe of the city is extremely different to the one in Hyderabad. And I loved my time in Hyderabad, and I had many good friends there, and we did a lot of good work, and equally, there was a lot of things in Hyderabad I also enjoyed.
You are rather very interested in culture and art of a place or a country or a city, and you were actively, involved in heritage walks in Hyderabad.
I did.
That's what I have been told.
Yeah,
so,
it's true. Guilty.
Yes, so tell us, what about the city of Nizam really enamored you? About the art and the culture, how did you find it there?
If you go to Hyderabad, particularly if you go to the old city, it's one of those cities where every door you opens up another world of discovery and exploratory opportunity. It's a little bit like my own city, London. It's that kind of city. And now I'm living in a similar city where, again, the more you look, the more opens up to you. And I love that.
What were your experiences in the City of Joy in Calcutta? What really you liked about it? So, there are many architectural, structures which are so very British because it was made by the British, especially the Dalhousie area and
and it makes me feel at home. When I go to those areas, certain buildings remind me of certain buildings that I can find in different parts of my country, in London, in Manchester, in Liverpool, where we have a lot of grand buildings with a lot of history. And, there's that. But then, there's also other architecture to be found. You have this fusion, you have Armenian, and there's a Greek church,
right.
And then you have a lot of places that are influenced not only from British, but also from other parts of Europe. Some of these Rajbaris, incredible.
And with the discovery of architecture comes the discovery of the many food or the many kinds of cuisine that, that are strewn across the alleys of Kolkata. So how much have you discovered Calcutta food?
I've discovered the food, some of the dinners have been very much Bengali focused. I love the fish here.
You love the fish?
I don't eat a lot of meat, but I love the fish, and the fish is definitely the freshest and best that I've been enjoying since I've been in India. So that, I would say, is a real highlight.
Which fish do you like the most?
I prefer the fish that isn't completely full of bones.
Right.
and some of them are like that. But even that, the meat is good once you can get it off. It's just that I'm a messy eater.
Being a European, a British, could you tell us how did your palate settle down to the spices?
No, the spices. Well, I mean, I'd lived in India, haven't I, since 2017, and I used to often go to Visakhapatnam, and there's my favourite food, Andhra coastal food, and I would sit there and eat the fish and seafood and all that, and none of my colleagues could eat it because they said, "Oh my God, it's too spicy, we can't eat this." But I actually like that food and I could manage. So here actually it's a bit of a climb down. It's not so spicy here.
Okay.
But the predominance of the mustard seed, that is taking a little bit of getting used to because it seems to creep into almost every dish. You have some mustards, not everyone, but so many dishes.
You are having more dishes with mustard.
So many dishes in Bengal have this mustard seed somewhere there. It's an ingredient that seems to be there far more than not there.
Right.
So it takes a bit of getting used to, but it's nice. You know, I mean, I like my fish fries, but it always comes with a bit of mustard sauce. So I would have a more complex dish, and again, there'll definitely be some mustard seed somewhere in it, of 70% perhaps at a time. I mean,
are you a foodie?
Yeah, definitely.
What do you say? And do you like to cook?
I used to cook a long time ago, but I haven't done a lot of cooking in recent years.
So what kind of dishes do you like cooking on?
I used to cook Thai food. I like to have lots of different flavors in a dish, and quite fresh sorts of stuff.
You have covered over 117 countries, which is like a whopping number, in anybody's lifetime. If you could tell us, which are the places that have made an indelible effect in your life?
I can tell you the countries that have had the most indelible effect on me and why. Uganda, Ghana, Nigeria, and India, because they're the ones that I've lived the longest. And always, the more you live in a place, the more you give to a place, the more you get back from that place. So whilst I've been to other countries and I thought, wow, Guatemala was one that I really loved. I first went there in 1995, so that is definitely a highlight. I think we went to Japan. That was also especially memorable, something quite different. South Korea, where I proposed to my wife. She's from Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
I suppose I'm obliged to also mention Vietnam, since that's where I originally met her. So, I mean, these countries, and I think probably Bolivia in South America was also a very unique and special place.
So, you are a die-hard football fan. You've watched more than 874 matches across the world.
I've watched about 4,000 matches, but I've been to watching 874 different venues, different stadiums.
God.
Yes.
So that's the original number, 4,000 matches.
More than that.
And since when have you been a football fan?
I became a football fan when I was about 10.
Okay.
And I guess that I was as fascinated by the crowd and the passion of the crowd as I was about what happened on the pitch at that particular time. And I've developed an interest not only in watching football, but also in the connection clubs have with their community and what they mean to people. And all of that dynamic, I find it really fascinating. So I tend not to just go and watch any old match. I'm interested in going to see clubs and understanding where there's this kind of interlinkage and how it all works and stuff like that. And I'm very interested in stadiums and stadium architecture. And again, I like to go to old stadiums particularly. Millwall is my favourite football club, undoubtedly, and nationally I support Scotland. My Indian team is Hyderabad FC, and I've watched Hyderabad FC lift the trophy for which Mohan Bagan are going to be contesting against Mumbai City tomorrow.
Okay.
So I've watched them win that. I went to the final in Goa. It was the first time people were allowed to go to a match post-pandemic. So, you know, there was a lot of excitement to actually being able to go to a stadium and watch a match after such nearly 2 years.
Right.
And you know, I'm loyal to them. But like I said, I've been made very welcome. Let me tell you, the game that I most enjoyed watching, and this will surprise you, the one that I most enjoyed watching since I've been here in West Bengal was a match where the East Bengal women's team were playing at home.
So, and also tell us, since sports play an incredible part or role in our life to build our character and to make us positive and to build our strength, stamina, both mentally and physically. But nowadays, with the surge of social media, children are more inclined towards playing video games rather than physical games. How do you see this change? What's your thought about this? And what do you think? I mean, why do children nowadays are not that motivated to take up sports? Do you feel the same way?
No,
What are your thoughts on this?
it's an interesting question, you know, and there's some truth in it. But then I would say that, I mean, I've been coming to India since 1988. And when I came to India then and in the 90s and early 2000s, there wasn't much sport going on with the kids. Reason? Their parents kept them at home because they wanted them to study, and every child was challenged to get the top grade. You know, and only one can out of however many are in a class or whatever. But it was all about that. And I think the government has played its role in encouraging more people to play sport. You know, and this has been evident across India, both centrally and at the state levels. And definitely as I've been coming to India on and off, I've seen how that has changed and more young people are playing sport. So I would challenge that there are more children in India playing sport now, even though many of them do want to have their phone and play other games. There are more children now being encouraged to play sport in India perhaps than ever before.
So what are the kind of initiatives are you taking on behalf of the Commission here?
My colleague who leads on our press and comms, Amit Singh Gupta, he has organised a lot of things around cricket. And for the last 3 years, we've competed for something called the Indo-Heritage Cup, where a team effectively from the British Deputy High Commission have played a team of people from the Bengali diaspora, coordinated by the Bengal Heritage Foundation. And that game has taken place at Eden Gardens in recent years. So, I mean, you know, that's one thing that we've sort of hoping to continue to do in the same sort of way, but then there's been other activities with football, with cricket. I also see that the Hope for Future school has one of its additional elements is this rugby that they play down in Crowfield, you know, on the edge of the Medan. I was almost dragged there at 6 o'clock in the morning to watch it, and after I'd been once, I couldn't get enough. I wanted to go back again and again and again. I'm not even into rugby, but it was just seeing these kids and the impact it had on them, and hundreds and hundreds of kids. They do special camps at around Christmas time. So how we can give more visibility to some of these activities is something that I'm keen to do. And then, I mean, on a more commercial level, I mean, what connections can be made between British businesses into sport to help develop and enhance. And equally, there's a lot of innovation around sport in India. A lot of people are coming up with their ideas, and some of those are suitable to be exported in the other way to the UK, and trade and investment always works in both directions. So I think there's a lot of that. And then, of course, education, and in terms of sport, we have a lot of really good universities in the UK when it comes to different aspects of sport.
So tell us about what other initiatives are you planning in the future as the Deputy High Commissioner of East and Northeast India? What are the plans?
I'm hoping that we can do more to project the offer and opportunities in the states that we cover from here to the UK market. I don't think people in my country know and understand as much about the East and the Northeast than the rest of India. If you're thinking of coming to India to do business, you will, depending on your sector, you'll be looking at Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, and then maybe Hyderabad or Chennai. Possibly in some cases something in Gujarat or Punjab, because we have a lot of diaspora connect with those two particular states. But, you know, Kolkata, far less.
Why do you think it has happened despite being the erstwhile colonial capital? What do you think really?
Well, I mean, connectivity maybe is one factor. How perceptions form over years and years and years, I honestly don't know the answer. But I'm not really worried about why it happened. I'm worried about how we can change it for better and how people can be educated more about the offers, not just in Kolkata. West Bengal is a state of 100 million people. The whole region that I cover, these 13 states and Andaman Islands, combined population, according to the latest UN data, adds up to 370 million, based on their estimate. I stress it's an estimate because census last one was 2011. So, but around 370 million people, which makes this region, which is somewhere the size of Western Europe, as populous or even perhaps slightly more populous now than the USA. It's a huge region, huge potential, huge opportunity. But, you know, far, far less competition than if you're a British company and you go to Bangalore or Mumbai. Here there's a lot of opportunity. And those British companies that we have who are already here, there's a lot of things they're very happy about. I mean, British Telecom are here. They have their second largest office in India, in Kolkata. Why would they have their office here when no one else has something of that comparison? Retention rate of staff, I believe from them is the highest of any of their offices in the world. Here, people are happy, people like working. And that's a good thing. I went to speak to them at their annual day. Met their whole team, 3,000 plus staff, and it was a really remarkable experience actually.
The last a movie or a series that you watched that really deeply impressed you?
Oh my God. I watched...
latest one.
The latest one I watched, I rarely watch anything because my life doesn't allow. So the last movie that deeply impressed me would have probably been Mitali Raj's life story when I was still in Hyderabad. Just before I left, it came out, The Girls in Blue, I think it was called. So it was partly about the Indian women's team and their rise, but it was based around her and her contribution and her journey in that. So it was very good because it was about the theme of women's empowerment, which I am very passionate about and I enjoy to watch. But it brought in a lot of other factors and dimensions that were also really interesting. So,
any art that you collected that you hold close to your heart?
Oh my God, you haven't been to my house. There's so much of it.
How many art pieces do you?
I couldn't tell you. My wife complains. How are we going to ever deal with all this stuff? What you're going to do, you have to give it away before you leave.
Thank you so much, Andrew, for this hearty chat. And
Thank
namaste.
you. Thank you so much. Dhanyabad.
Thank you.